Hi, everyone. This is Tom Parmalee, the founder of funeralvision.com. And joining me today is Karl Weisenbeck, the president of Funeral Home Gifts. Thanks so much for joining me, Karl.
Well, thank you for inviting me for this. I'm excited about this, Tom, and I think some congratulations are in order for you too. I saw the announcement of your new position, and is it vice president over at Ring Ring Marketing?
That's correct. Yes, I'm very excited to join the team there.
Well, you and I have known each other for quite a few years. You've always put on a tremendous event that I always look forward to going to, and I know you're going to be a tremendous asset as you join Ring Ring Marketing. So, congratulations.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Karl, we've known each other for a long time now, and you've been in death care for quite a few years now. So long that some folks out there might not really know how you got into the space in the first place. So why don't you share that story with us?
It's kind of like a salmon swimming upstream. You know what I mean? Let me start by saying, when I talk to a funeral director who's a first generation funeral director, I love to ask them, why did you choose this as a career? Because it's certainly not something that if, I was seeing my high school guidance counselor, if I had no other previous experience or whatnot in that industry, certainly wouldn't bring up funeral director as maybe one of the options. But when I ask it, because I'm interested, when I ask a first generation person, why did you choose this? One of the main answers is I've always known I wanted to do this. So it's a calling like the clergy. Well, for me, it wasn't that. Okay. I had served in a number of different sales positions and sales leadership positions. I'm originally from Rochester, New York, moved down south. And by the way, our company's in North Carolina. So our office is in Lynn, North Carolina. So I moved down from Rochester, North Carolina in 2007 after I'd finished my MBA at the University of Rochester. I had an opportunity to come down here for a short-term, relatively short-term project. And when that was over, I met somebody who was in the industry. And actually, his grandfather had started a funeral home, which grew to a number of different funeral homes, which he eventually sold off. And I was actually sitting at a diner talking to him and learned more about the industry. And at that point, was somewhat fascinated. So I guess morphing into it, and we actually started a more of a financial services company that was serving the industry. And from that's how I got into it. But the reason I started with the discussion I did is because it is a calling for me. I didn't realize it was a calling, and now it's so comfortable for me that I just love this industry. And, maybe late to the party as it is, it's exactly the right place at the right time. And I've been with Funeral Home Gifts since 2011. I started as president with Funeral Home Gifts, and we've grown the business since then. And I just love it. I love the people, and I don't plan on retiring. I enjoy it.
Now, tell us a little bit more about Funeral Home Gifts. I think everyone out there is familiar with your wonderful tribute blankets to honor a loved one, but you offer a variety of products. So why don't you share a little bit more about the company and what how you can help funeral homes and the families that they serve?
Very, very, yeah, I'm delighted to do that. Funeral Home Gifts is actually the vision of Pure Country Weavers, which is a 45-ish old family-owned textile company. In 2000, the funeral division, which I'm now the president of, actually started as an idea. A we other divisions of Pure Country, as a weaving company, is one of the only textile companies left down here, American owned, American workforce, which by the way I'm very proud of. We make all the blankets for all the stadium blankets for all the colleges throughout the country. We have another division that's called Fine Art Tapestries, make beautiful tapestries and for upscale homes and businesses. And in 2007, we actually approached by by a funeral director who had a very high profile funeral that was the next day, or I think maybe 2 days away. And of course, that's unheard of to weave a blanket for next day. But this was for something very high profile, and understanding kind of the historical significance of it. Basically, we shut down the plant. Once again, this is 4 years before I started, 2007. Shut it down, got it to the funeral director, met him halfway on the interstate, and he brought it to the service, displayed it at the service. And after that, the owner of the company said, "Hey, you got something here." So he actually spent 2 years developing a process where we could receive an order online. Okay. That order would then get edited by an artist. It would get what's known as batched, which means it would be scheduled to go to a loom, get woven, washed, dried, shipped out, and delivered next day. And I'm gonna tell you something, that even though I've been here for close to 15 years, it still blows my mind. That this is that they get, and it has to be there next day. Okay. The value and the power of the blanket is displaying it at the first viewing, visitation, and service as a surprise to the family. So after that, providing it to the family or delivering it to the family after the service, you don't get that first reaction from the family. You don't have other people who are at the funeral that get to see it. I mean, it's just so much power in doing that. But the bottom line is we've grown it since I joined in 2011. I think back then we were doing maybe, I think about 30 blankets a day. Right now we're doing 400 a day, 500,
Wow.
and we're still barely scratching the surface. But from that perspective, yeah, we're still growing. And I hope I answered your question.
No, absolutely.
Express a little bit.
I guess a follow-up question is beyond the blankets, what are some of your other popular selling items? Because I know you do more than just the wonderful tribute blankets.
Yeah, the blanket is our flagship product for sure. In addition to that, we have a number of other personalization products. Okay, but as far as the blanket's concerned, the woven blanket is a flagship product. We actually added a couple other flavors of blanket as well. We do two sizes of a printed blanket. So the blanket's actually woven, but the image is printed on the blanket. So what you're going to get with it is, brighter colors, higher clarity, higher resolution. Neither one's better than the other. They're just different. Some people like that better. Some people like chocolate ice cream better. But regardless, we offer that. And then we also offer what's called a Sherpa blanket, which I had no idea what Sherpa meant, but it's that soft, plush, fuzzy blanket, and that comes in 3 different sizes. So actually, 3 different flavors of blankets. We also do two styles, if you will, of urns. We do what we call our 946A urn. Which looks like this. It's actually rectangle because it's backwards, right? But regardless, it's actually the unique feature of this urn is there's personalization on all 4 sides. We also do a traditional 2-sided urn too. Make beautiful custom cap panels, and by the way, every one of our products is offered for delivery next day. Okay, up to 5 images, multiple lines of text, thousands of different background designs. But other products, as you'd asked, beautiful custom cap panel. So what we do is we print on a poly satin material, we then hand assemble that onto a foam core base. And so it has texture to it, actually has some depth to it. And that's sized to press fit perfectly into whatever casket brand that you're providing, whether it be Batesville Matthews, something, that's imported or whatnot, but that'll press fit perfectly in friction fit in your casket. We do 3 different styles, if you will, of portrait, 5 sizes of framed portrait, a wooden plaque, and also what we call our curved acrylic, which is a great product. It's actually a translucent curved acrylic product, which looks great on a coffee table, on an end table, on a credenza at work, but that's just a beautiful product as well. Neckties. We have a keepsake pillow, printed keepsake pillow. We've just recently introduced fans, church fans. For women, now that the weather is getting hotter, that's becoming very, very popular. Neckties. So we have a number of products other than the blanket. The blanket is our flagship product. Most of those other products are more offered as a la carte items. So funeral homes display those in their selection room, offered as an a la carte item that people can buy at need if they'd like to. The blanket, like I say, is our flagship product. And generally what a funeral home will do is most of the time they'll buy the first one. Most of them build the cost into their GPL, so it's a wash, but they'll display it, like I said earlier, at the first viewing, visitation, and service is a gift that the family's not expecting. And typically what happens is then they see it, they're blown away, and then other family members want to purchase a copy. So and by the way, all the great ideas we've had, they weren't ours you know, we might be smart, and I think we're smart because we listen to what funeral directors need and what they want and what their families ask for. And then we'll go and develop it and make sure we can provide that to them.
That's a sounds like a wonderful suite of products that you offer funeral homes. What type of support do you offer them in terms of, presenting this to families or giving them ideas? I don't know. A lot of companies provide brochures or some kind of support and just sharing that information with families. So what's your strategy or what do you do on that front?
That's a great question. Okay. I'll talk about the blanket again a little bit more and then we'll move on to some of the other products as well. The best way that we can illustrate the value of the blanket and the reaction that the families can have is, let's say we've got a new somebody who's interested and wants to learn more. Okay, what we'll do is we'll provide them with a free blanket and maybe one or two free blankets to display at visitations and services so that they can experience it and they can decide if this is something of value to them. One of the things that I've learned is people don't, they don't buy what you do. They buy what, how you, why you do it. Okay. They don't buy, and by the way, I didn't learn that myself. I actually saw that on a TED Talk one time. It just resonated with me. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. Okay. Why do we provide these? And by the way, I'm going to come back to your question, but I'm thinking as we're talking, we do this so we can help our partners, and I call them partners because they truly are business partners, grow their business and comfort the grieving families that they serve. Okay. If we can't do that, then you have no use for me. Okay. But in illustrating that, what we'll do is provide them with a free blanket, maybe a couple of, maybe three of them, so they can display them at visitations and services, see what the reaction is from the family, see what kind of reorders they get. And I'm telling you, typically after that, um, I don't need to do a whole lot more. But the bottom line is we have to achieve those two objectives first. Help them grow their business, comfort the grieving families they serve, and obviously we grow. But we can't be the man that sits in front of the stove and says, give me some heat and then I'll give you some wood. You know what I mean? We have to provide value, and that's what we do. In terms of the other products, so that the blanket works as a gifted item. It doesn't sell as well as you might think. If all you do is display a sample in your selection room and offer it as an a la carte item that people can buy at need, typically people don't buy it. They see it, they think it's cool. We can weave photographs into a blanket or we can print these beautiful blankets, but they don't make any emotional connection to it. There's a completely different dynamic in seeing a sample in a selection room than there is in walking into a visitation or service and seeing their grandmother. It's transformational. At that point, they don't ask how much is it, they just say, I need three more. The other products, the pillow, neckties, cap panel, most of the other products are more a la carte items. So what we'll do is we'll provide samples that they can be displayed in selection rooms for families to see and offered a la carte. I mean, the pillow sometimes is gifted as well, but for the most part, the other products are offered as a la carte. Everything, we have an online order process, which is very simple. When a new partner, a new customer comes on board, we'll actually spend some time walking them through the order process. So they would get a username and a password to log in. We'd show them how to upload images, like I say, up to 5 images on any one of the products, multiple lines of text, literally thousands of different background designs from religious themes, decorative themes, careers, hobbies, decorative, religious themes. So we can really personalize this for the family to actually represent the life of their loved one. So
All right, if I'm a funeral home owner out there watching this thinking, wow, this sounds great. I want to get involved. How can a funeral home start working with you? Or will you be at ICCFA? Can they visit you and learn a little bit more? What are the next steps?
well, I will be at ICCFA. We exhibit at all the national shows. We also exhibit at most of the state shows. But I will be there my number, and by the way, you can call me directly anytime. My direct number is 828-859-7415. Our website is funeralhomegifts.com, and you can see all of our products there. And certainly submit an inquiry there. We'll get back to you immediately, get you certainly some samples of blankets, talk to you a little bit. It costs nothing to enroll. Typically all we do is get your information, shipping address, billing address, etc. And then, like I said earlier, we will schedule a time to get you in front of, whoever's going to be placing the orders for that location in front of a computer and walk them through the order process. It takes about half an hour, 45 minutes to walk them through, not to place an order, but to walk them through just to see it. And then once they've been through that, they've maybe done it once or twice. It takes about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to place an order. It's all plug and play. Just log in, select your background, upload your images, add your text, multiple lines of text, but it's very, very simple.
Well, lastly, I will just say I have one of your blankets. I've had it for probably a dozen years, and what some people might not realize is these blankets are very durable. I mean, we use them, and it's still in great shape. So I mean, that it's pretty amazing, the quality of your blankets.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, we're pretty proud. Every blanket is made out of about 6 miles of cotton thread, the woven blanket, about 6 miles of cotton thread, 6 colors of yarn. Every one of them is washed and dried before it leaves here, so it softens and shrinks it, but it's never going to shrink or fade. You can multiple washings, it's never going to shrink or fade, and I appreciate that, Tom. We're very, very proud of what we do. And our objective, I'm going to say it again, is to help our customers and our partners grow their business and comfort the families that they serve. And, they come to me with great ideas. We have a great design team. We have a full staff of customer service people here, full staff of artists. And that's the other thing. Even though we've got thousands of, designs or backgrounds already available, sometimes based on geography, there's something else that might resonate, some other background design that might resonate with the families they serve, and we've got a full staff of artists, so we can design it and put it together so it's available.
Yeah, I can imagine if a family was really into like, fishing or camping or hunting. I mean, think of all the scenes that can go along with what someone enjoyed to do.
Well, I'll tell you something funny too that I learned early on is, especially farmers are very brand loyal. And if somebody is a John Deere guy, don't want to put a red tractor on their blanket, you know what I mean? But understanding the loved one and what his interests are and how that's going to resonate with other family members that are seeing it, really plays a role in the number of reorders that you're going to get.
Well, Carl, thank you so much for joining me and sharing a little bit more about funeral home gifts and all that you do. If you're watching this, be sure to visit Carl at ICCFA. He gave you his phone number, which if you watch that, it's not every day you get the phone number of the president of a very well respected company. So thanks again, Carl.
Well, let me give you the direct 800 number, okay? The direct 800 number is 800-233-0439, and that will put you directly into our customer service team. And from that, let me do a sample for you if you're new, or certainly I can share with you some of the information from our current partners and what we do with them. And before I go, if it's okay, if I can digress for a second, Tom,
Absolutely. Go
I'm
ahead.
I'm gonna plug a movie, okay? That I saw this weekend, which was really, really interesting. It's a movie called Get Low. Um, and it's about I think it's in the 30s. It's Robert Duvall and Bill Murray's in it and whatnot, but it's called Get Low, and it's about an older guy, kind of a mountain guy that wants to have his funeral and have his service while he's still alive. And it's funny and it's touching and it's whatnot. But I think you can get it on Netflix. But regardless, I want to throw that out there because it's a great movie and I really enjoyed it. I think that our funeral director friends will get a kick out of it too.
I think I've seen that one, but it was years ago, and I'll have to rewatch it because I do remember it was very good.
Yeah. So at any rate, Tom, I can't tell you how much I appreciate um, the time that we spent together. You've always been a great friend. You put on tremendous events that I've really enjoyed going to. And once again, congratulations on your new role.
Thank you, Carl, and thanks again for joining me. I'll see you in Vegas.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Tom.